It's one of the most storied and prestigious marques in the automotive world.
Rolls-Royce's history is of being the best.
A name so impeccable, it's commonly used to describe the finest things in life.
They're one of the only car makers who does anything handmade anymore.
A distinctly English form of perfection.
If you think of Great Britain, you think of Rolls-Royce.
For years, Rolls-Royce has succeeded by selling lavish chauffeured limousines. But now, the company faces a changing of the guard.
The question becomes, will Rolls-Royce be able to survive as its customers get older?
The brand's answer is to reach into their illustrious past for a touch of sport.
It's the ultimate gentleman's GT, the most luxurious way to get from A to B.
It's a bold wager on the next generation of the ultra-affluent.
Making a sporty Rolls-Royce, that's something of a gamble.
An extremely expensive and elegant bet called the Wraith. It's a handcrafted masterpiece featuring exotic wood, sumptuous leather, and illustrious paint. A grand touring machine built to the highest standards, yet capable of going from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in close to 4.4 seconds. And it's a machine that starts life at 245,000 euros and seldom ends there. The Rolls-Royce Wraith. The most powerful machine to ever be adorned with the Flying Lady, and a vehicle that aims to be driven.
It's not the 1930s or 40s anymore. The richest of the rich don't necessarily always have drivers. They don't necessarily want to be chauffeured.
Sporty and luxury tend to be on opposite ends of the spectrum. You get one or the other.
Extravagant limousines have kept the brand in business, but with their core buyers aging, the company needs to hook the next generation.
The Wraith is a little bit of a risk because it steps away from traditional Rolls-Royce values.
A risk worth taking to ensure the survival of perhaps the most famous icon in British motoring.
Wraith walks a fine line there that it still looks like a Rolls-Royce. It's got the proportions, it's got the presence and the elegance. It has all of the handcrafted wood and leather and all of the features, everything you expect from a Rolls-Royce. It just happens to go around a corner a little better.
Whether it's going around a corner or flying down a straightaway, seeing any Rolls-Royce is an extraordinarily uncommon event.
A Rolls-Royce is a very rare and precious thing. When you look at our sales figures last year, it was just under 4,000 cars.
4,000 brand new machines sold in 50 markets on a planet with a population of over 7 billion people.
It's an occasion just to see one go by.
That occasion begins at the Goodwood estate in southern England, inside the Rolls-Royce complex.
It's ultra-modern, environmentally friendly. We're very fortunate to be here in the Goodwood estate. The amazing thing about this place is you wouldn't know it was here. Unless you're physically here, you can't see it.
You may not be able to see the facility from the street, but there's plenty that stands out.
When you walk out into the line, it doesn't feel like a lot's happening because there's no machinery. It's all people, hands-on, putting things together.
The complex harkens back to a simpler time in a different era.
We don't call it a factory. We call this a manufacturing plant. This is the home of Rolls-Royce.
It's a home where finished cars don't come off the line in seconds, but rather months. The Wraith is so exquisite, that it takes 1,500 men and women over 450 hours to lovingly handcraft a single machine.
The big difference in the way Rolls-Royce is made versus most other cars is it comes down to time.
When I tell people we're running at near to full capacity, when they see the plant very gently moving along without too much fuss or noise, they don't believe me. It's very unhurried, it's very considered.
The modern production feel disguises a simple truth. The pursuit of perfection doesn't require a mechanized assembly line.
Automation doesn't give you the dexterity you need when you're working with natural products, the wood, the leather, the hand-finished coach line. And that's what we pride ourselves on.
Pride that is in part due to the Goodwood location.
We're based here in West Sussex. We employ over 1,600 people and we're a British manufacturing success.
It's completely non-traditional to build a motor car in the south, but actually also we're not really a traditional automotive manufacturer.
Non-traditional manufacturing that's inextricably linked to the United Kingdom itself.
Rolls-Royce is a key part of kind of British history.
It's a massive thing for Britain. I think it's bigger than the automotive industry.
As an English brand, I think it means a lot to a lot of people, which is lovely.
There's just a sort of a cultural appreciation in Britain for things that are handcrafted, that are done the old ways.
National honour echoes throughout the complex.
It's a real honour to say I work for Rolls-Royce Motor Cars.
Yeah, it's an iconic company. It's the pinnacle of the automotive industry in that respect. I think my family are really proud.
My dad was so proud of me when I got a job here, and he always says, oh, your granddad would be proud of you. That's a sort of, I don't know, yeah, proud to be British, isn't it?
Rolls-Royce has always been a source of prestige, but it hasn't always been successful.
The Rolls-Royce mark through history has ups and downs. The very beginning was the 4th of May 1904, when the two great men, our founding fathers, if you like, Sir Henry Royce and Charles Rolls, first met at the Midland Hotel in Manchester.
Sir Henry Royce and Charles Rolls meet 5 months after the Wright brothers take their very first flight. It's a time when society is radically changing. Yet the horse and carriage is still the dominant form of transportation.
Sir Henry Royce had great success, but had very much come from nothing. And Charles Rolls, who was born to aristocracy, but was very much an adventurer.
Rolls is a thrill-seeker who becomes one of the first men to fly across the English Channel.
It was very much a meeting of great minds, and they discussed their desire to build the world's best motor car.
The men forge an agreement to create a new car company. Each and every machine will carry the name Rolls-Royce.
It was an intriguing meeting. It's completely recorded. We know what they had for dinner. It's extraordinary, as in many things with Rolls-Royce. The history is extremely well documented.
From the very beginning, price never matters.
For Sir Henry Royce, it was very much about quality first and price second.
Both men believe that there will always be customers willing to pay a premium for the very best. And they're right.
So it was a very early dawn of motoring.
Like many first-generation technologies, early automobiles are extremely expensive. Rolls-Royce motor cars are even more extravagantly priced.
In the early days of the automobile, and Rolls-Royce was one of the earliest, who could afford cars?
The company's initial success comes in 1906.
Perhaps the most famous car was the Silver Ghost.
The Silver Ghost is built to showcase the brand's engineering prowess. The machine is named for its silver-plated bodywork, but stands out due to its performance. The car runs from London to Glasgow 27 times in 1 year and sets a world record for non-stop motoring. Eventually, the same machine will go on to cover nearly 15,000 miles without fail in an era when driving a few hundred is challenging.
That really set the benchmark for Rolls-Royce in terms of quality of engineering.
Now, in the very early days, gentlemen racers raced Rolls-Royce motor cars. And then they became luxury cars. They became chauffeured limousines. And that's how it was for decades.
The astonishing cost helps the company become a global brand before anyone even knows what going global means.
The Maharaja car India, perhaps the great businessman in the States, the senior government official in Russia. It's extraordinary that this company in England, in those very early days, was shipping cars all over the world.
Success outside the UK sends the Flying Lady soaring. However, by the latter part of the 20th century, she has trouble staying aloft.
How Rolls-Royce exists now is owed to the fact they actually ran out of money and went bankrupt.
In 1971, it gets so bad that the British government steps in and nationalizes the company.
There was nothing at all for decade after decade. And of course, it's a British thing to do, to stiff up a lip, not talk about your problems.
During that period and moving through the 80s and then into the 90s, the company was suffering from lack of investment.
So Rolls-Royce was really reaching the end. They didn't have the money to keep doing what they were doing, but they didn't have the money to build an all-new car.
It certainly was likely that Rolls was on the brink of extinction. We would have never known until the day afterwards.
As the century draws to a close, a brand that's synonymous with wealth, power, and fame is about to perish until a single piece of paper changes hands. In the early 90s, Rolls-Royce is in peril. The brand has survived 2 world wars, bankruptcy, and government nationalization. Yet once again, it stands on the edge of the precipice.
Unimaginable. To think this might not have existed would have been a little bit scary.
I think the last 20 years of the automotive industry have proven over and over again, brands that we couldn't conceive of living without have gone.
By the mid-90s, the unthinkable happens. Rolls-Royce is put up for sale.
It's an enormous turning point in the history of Rolls-Royce.
In 1998, BMW acquires the marque for £340 million. All they get in return is a name.
What BMW had bought was effectively a piece of paper. There was no manufacturing plant, there was no workforce, no dealer network, no design. It was perhaps the greatest adventure in automotive history.
The expedition begins with a £65 million investment for a new manufacturing complex in southern England.
We were starting from scratch. There wasn't a direct Rolls-Royce labour pool ready to come in and start working.
The factory's strategic location near the sea offers a unique artisanal advantage.
One of the reasons we're based in Goodwood was a strong link with the boat building industry.
We're right next to the sea. What do we make around here? We make boats, yachts, superb interiors.
A strong concentration of craftsmanship is vital when you're rebuilding an icon of England from the ground up.
There were 100 years of history and 100 years of expectation sitting on BMW to create, to rebuild, to rebirth, if you like, the renaissance of this incredible company.
To BMW's credit, they really committed.
The commitment is costly. Over the next decade, BMW injects over 1.4 billion euros. The result is the first brand new Rolls-Royce in years, the Phantom.
When Phantom was first coming out, there hadn't been much of a sort of new model initiative on Rolls-Royce for many years.
Introduced in 2003, the Phantom is an opulent limousine built for chauffeurs to pilot and passengers to appreciate.
Rolls-Royce is a survivor. Rolls-Royce is one of these brands that has never strayed away from its core competency.
The Phantom successfully reignites Rolls-Royce. But after a decade in production, the brand's demographics grow older.
To attract new customers, we must also stretch the brand a little.
The remedy is a new machine built for a different audience.
Wraith is an idea that's been dormant for a long time at Rolls-Royce. The idea of a sporty Rolls-Royce.
Those sporty, youthful customers won't buy a Wraith, but rather commission it like a work of art.
We offer our customers the ability to personalize their cars, to work with us, to inspire us.
The level of customization is unmatched in all of motoring.
Part of the essence of Rolls-Royce is that it's individual. Now, my printer can turn out an exact copy of a Salvador Dali painting, but it's not the same thing as the real thing.
98% of our cars come out of this factory with some element of bespoke on them. So the chances of getting two cars that are identical is very, very slim indeed. Very slim.
Deciding how to configure your Wraith is time-consuming.
There's a number of decisions to make, and we don't rush our customers. Often it's a very personal decision.
A world of choice awaits inside the customer studio, where a team of designers help customers navigate the complex maze of endless possibilities.
Here to sit with the customer in quite a relaxed fashion here in Goodwood and to just understand what are their aspirations for their car.
We would show them a range of different finishes and different colours and then put them together so we can kind of decide whether they like certain combinations.
It's a very colourful world. Rolls-Royce offers over 44,000 standard paint colours. However, should you still want for something else, they can custom match any hue in the rainbow.
Some customers will have a huge amount of deliberation on which colour because it's a massive sort of commitment. Some colours may work in the Middle East but won't work in Europe, so it's kind of a bit of a conversation point with the customer.
The room's colourful demeanour is perhaps only bested by the nearly limitless interior appointments.
Rolls-Royce leather is not something you just buy from any tannery. This is the nicest leather you could possibly put in this car.
The fabulous leather is often complemented with splendidly fine woods. Rolls-Royce offers over 20,000 different veneers, and many find their way into custom cabinetry, seldom found in other automobiles.
We've got a sketch of a humidor here, which is integrated into the center console of the Wraith.
Once approved, the sketches head to the wood shop, where artisans handcraft first-rate interiors using a mixture of old-world know-how and state-of-the-art tech.
We're here in the Rolls-Royce woodworking shop. It's a really special area in Goodwood. A real crafty area. It's got a romance to it.
It's a wood-based romance that's highly unusual in the automotive industry.
They're one of only two companies in the world that has their own wood shop in-house.
The guys that work in here live and breathe wood parts. It's a passion.
This is an IKEA table where you've got a bit of a veneer on the top that looks very nice, but the rest of it's all cheap. You're buying a piece of furniture.
Inside the humidor, stacks of pristine wood veneer leaves sit, ready to be transformed into whatever one can imagine.
Every piece of wood that we produce starts with veneer that comes from this room.
The humidor's constant moisture level keeps the wood malleable for artisans.
They're from all over the world, tropical veneers, veneers from North America, from Europe, so quite a sourcing activity is needed to get hold of this stuff.
From start to finish, a single wood set takes over 6 weeks to produce. Each year, they make over 81,000 handcrafted parts.
We're just outside of the humidor now, and basically this area is where we prepare the veneer through the next phase.
This is where the brand's famous book matching comes to life, a process where craftsmen mirror the grain on both sides of the vehicle.
Joe then has to effectively match that veneer down that center line in the car. It's a real skill that the guys have to develop over time to get a good feel for the veneer, to make sure that they get that perfect pattern through the car.
When the book matching is complete, veneers are taped together and sent to a laser cutting machine.
After Joe's prepared the veneer, effectively we've got the surface area to cut the specific geometries out from.
Finished panels look like solid wood pieces, but they're actually built up of over 30 layers of different materials due to safety regulations.
The fact that you can't have solid wood in a car, God forbid there's an incident in a car, rather than the material breaking and causing damage to the occupants, it deforms. There's a lot of challenges to overcome with getting some of these materials in the cars, which makes the craftsmanship even more impressive.
In another part of the wood shop, the remaining layers are assembled.
So what Tony's doing here is he's selecting the individual layers of that substrate part that will be pressed together in our press. We've got glue sheets, we've got aluminium layers. There's a lot of complexity in this job.
During each loading cycle, the timing must be absolutely perfect.
He will have to load it in a specific order to make sure that the length of time that the part is in the tool doesn't exceed a certain amount of time, which would set the glue too early.
The press laminates each panel using 220 tons of force. That's roughly 2 times the weight of a blue whale. When the substrate is finished, it's time to glue the veneer on.
What Paul's doing here is getting the veneer ready to be pressed onto the substrate part that you would recognize. He'll apply a glue layer to the substrate, put the veneer onto it, and then we'll use the membrane press to apply pressure and heat to make sure that the face veneer sticks to the substrate part. So the heat is applied from the lower bed, but effectively the membrane is pulled down over the part, and that's the top pressure that's applied onto the part to set the adhesive. Between the pressure and the temperature, it's around 70 degrees and about 1 bar of pressure, and those parts will stay in there for about 30 minutes.
Then a talented craftsperson trims the excess material.
As you see, he's trimming the excess material off, taking great care to make sure it's not damaging the A-surface, and he's working with the part then to get that final shape.
If there are any repairs to make, artisans will cut small slivers from the remaining veneer sheets and delicately glue them into place.
What Dan's using here is your everyday appliance in terms of the iron. It's not anything magical. It's the perfect tool that the guys use to apply the heat to set the glue. We're in the final stages here. What we're doing is giving the final sanding to the parts, ready for the lacquer process.
During the sanding process, they take mere microns off to prep it for lacquering. Finally, the pieces and panels are sent to the lacquering department, where they add less than 2 millimeters of clear coat.
The finest woods, everything in here, it has to be top tier and perfect, because if it's not, what's the point?
Being the best has been the hallmark of Rolls-Royce for over 110 years. Yet in today's computerized society, the artisanal talents required to do it are fading away fast. The key is ensuring those irreplaceable skills live on. Rolls-Royce has been hand-building remarkable automobiles since 1904.
Rolls-Royce is one of these companies that's been laser-focused on its mission, which is, we want to make the best car.
The single-minded, some might even say obsessive approach to luxury car crafting is both time-consuming and expensive.
At no time, now or in the past, has Rolls-Royce said, just make it cheaper. Doesn't exist.
If you own a Rolls-Royce, you have really made it.
Owning a Rolls is a marker of success, and building it requires a workforce with an unusual set of skills.
So that challenge is maintaining the real detail and craftsmanship within our product.
To keep that expertise going, the brand creates an apprenticeship program. Each year, they offer 17 young adults the opportunity to learn the art of traditional coach building.
I see younger people coming through, I try and help them. It is really good.
Each apprenticeship can last up to 4 years and combines on-the-job training with classroom study.
They're the future, so you need to relay the information that they need to help them for their future. For the future of Rolls-Royce as well.
It's an exceptional way to give back and to ensure the continuation of a certain way of life.
When I was an apprentice, I didn't know nothing. I'd come straight from school. I wouldn't be where I was now if it wasn't for all these guys working around me, passing all their knowledge on to me.
You can just see how the expertise have been passed on from generations and actually see these people doing things that we would have done years and years ago.
Tradition and the reverence for the past and for the craftsmen who really created as much art as they did machine. And Rolls-Royce keeps that spirit alive.
Sewing team leader Alice Strachan is a prime example of how using the past to bet on the future pays off.
I met a couple of guys that were doing their apprenticeship here. They were learning to do upholstery and they said, well, you should try it. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose?
The apprenticeship leads to a permanent job in the leather sewing department.
Yeah, I have grown here. I started from learning each process. I can look at a product and think, oh, that's not good enough, because I know in seat build or seat covering that actually that's going to be really visible.
Alice's rise through the ranks results in a once-in-a-lifetime memory.
A VIP was coming to the factory, and would I be able to introduce them? And I thought, oh, who could that be? It was something to meet the Prime Minister. Not many people have that opportunity. And then to actually shake his hand and introduce him to 1,000 people, it was an experience. Afterwards, everyone was coming up to me telling me what a great job I'd done, and I was just thinking, oh, I'm glad it's over. Oh, my little heart was beating, but it was fantastic.
The leather department's goal is to make every second spent inside the cabin feel special.
We're at the beginning of the process where we start to make that really special interior made out of the best leather in the world. So this is pre-inspection, and I think what you'd notice immediately is just the colour range that we offer. And these are the standard colours. You've got some great colours. We've got Arctic white, a real contrast, really popular in the Middle East areas, really fantastic. But then some of the more classics, ardent red, really strong, deep colour, that again, really shows some of the contrast that you can pick out.
The first step in the process is looking over the hides.
And we inspect each hide with a 10% stretch to that hide, so we can really see any natural marks or any included marks through the leather production process.
They spread the leather out on an air cutting table and digitally lay out templates for all the panels.
Many places do this with a camera and an automated process. They lay the high down on the table. Well, our view is the best camera you can buy is the human eye. There's more pixels to the human eye than any other camera.
It takes 17 days and 18 hides to make just one Wraith interior.
We've selected all the panels, cut them, prepared them, and then some further skill is added. This is where the sewing team provide their real craftsmanship, their touch, to bring those panels together in the most exacting, the most precise manner.
A lot of our expertise are within tailoring, so we'll apply techniques that you very much see a lot in fashion, actually.
Each associate might have come from a tailoring background or from a furnishing background, and they come here and they use their skills from other areas.
No rush to get the product through. We have to make sure that each one comes out perfect.
The leather shop is the opposite of today's high-tech, highly automated culture. The level of detail and handwork required to bring an interior to life is remarkably similar to how Charles Rolls and Sir Henry Royce would have done it.
Would our forefathers really come in here and recognise the processes? And I think yes, I really do. And that's because the craftsmanship, the basic processes that we're using are bringing the materials together in pretty much the same way. So this kit is now ready to go upstairs to the seat production area for them to finish off the magic.
Upstairs, the trim department assembles interior pieces one by one. Metal frames are wired. Cushions are covered. And seats are tested to ensure they work flawlessly. When the seats are finished, they're sent downstairs along with the rest of the interior elements to the final assembly hall, where a tightly knit team continues the quest for perfection.
You seem to know everyone. It's quite weird, really. It's almost like you're working in a small company because everyone's so close together.
It's a small company feeling born out of small batch production.
It takes about 18 hours in total for the car to go from the start to the finish, which for us is just over a day because we run a two-shift operation.
Painted frames enter the line at the rate of around 1 an hour, but they're seldom rushed.
We allow ourselves a bit more time and a bit calmer pace to prevent us actually having those issues where we perish of thought damage a part that's going to take 6 weeks to make. So each of the operators has over 50 minutes worth of work to remember. So you're not doing it every 60 seconds, but they've got an hour's worth of things to remember, which for this car will be different to the car behind it.
The Wraith line features 18 stations.
The first thing really is putting all of the undergarments into the car.
First, they install the custom-tailored wiring harness.
There's kilometers of wire that when you individually pull them apart, we're talking highways worth of wiring going into the car.
While there's a hefty amount of wire inside the Wraith, there isn't a lot inside the factory, nor is there any semblance of automation.
With the cycle times, the number of cars we build a day, having a conveyor belt isn't what we need. We're not about automation. You won't see in this process any robots.
It's almost like you're not really working on a car. It's totally different. It's not high production.
It's a very manual process. Yeah, we deliberately keep the factory fairly quiet. There's no music playing.
It takes a peaceful place to build what many consider to be the quietest automobile on the road.
That moment when the doors click shut and then the auto close pulls them to, and there's that moment of complete silence. And I don't know of many cars that you get that kind of atmosphere.
An extreme amount of sound-deadening material creates the silent sensation.
When you're inside, you're cut off from the rest of the world. It's a lovely environment. And to get that, we've got a lot of different types of sound insulation in the car. Different weights of sound insulation will stop different types of noise.
The instrument panel comes next, though unlike most cars, here it's installed in 2 stages. The first is the mechanical guts of the system. Then they put in the top-notch handcrafted materials.
So this is the next stage of building up the instrument panels. In the car behind us, we've now got the leather and the wood being fitted.
The leather and wood not only draw your eye, but also hide a tremendous amount of electrical componentry.
One of the things you really notice is how hidden everything is. And again, that's a decision that's been made on purpose. And the car should be uncluttered, and the technology should only be available when you want it available.
Rolls also has little touches that make it a very endearing car. You have this big infotainment screen. If you just don't want to look at it, you press one button and a wood veneer screen comes down and covers it up. And the whole driving experience changes.
It's a driving experience unlike any other, partly due to luxury, and partly due to Formula One. At the Rolls-Royce complex in Goodwood, England, artisans have spent hundreds of hours ensuring only the finest pieces go into a new Wraith. Yet hidden beneath the lavish materials is a highly sophisticated machine.
You sit inside a Rolls-Royce, you're seeing handcrafted wood and the finest leather that's been hand-stitched and all these things, and all the computers and things are hidden.
Some of those computers run the 8-speed transmission, a gearbox that holds a surprise. It can actually think on its own.
Rather than have the gearbox purely just keeping up with the speed of the car, it's also reading the road ahead, so it knows the corners that are coming up and it knows what gear to set the car for.
The satellite GPS-connected transmission is an industry first and based on BMW's Formula One technology.
So if you're coming down a straight road and there's a perpendicular junction in the road, if you have your turn signal going, the car knows you're going to make a left turn. So it makes sure it holds the correct gear rather than maybe going into a higher gear that it would otherwise have for that straight piece of road.
The transmission is pre-assembled in the drivetrain sub-assembly area, where 2 workers bolt the Wraith's running gear to the massive 6.6-litre twin-turbo V12 engine.
This is our 6.6-litre twin-turbo V12 that powers Wraith. It's an impressive engine, and it's actually quite a tight fit as well.
We have very tight tolerances. When the engine actually goes to the engine bay, you're looking about 3/4 of an inch either side.
Every hour, a completed drivetrain is sent to an eagerly awaiting Wraith.
The whole marriage process using 16 fixings taking about 6.5 minutes.
The installation of the most powerful Rolls-Royce engine is both smooth and easy, just like driving the machine.
A Wraith has a driving experience that's just unlike anything else. The way the engine delivers power, the way the ride quality feels, the way the steering feels.
So the car feels a little more responsive, but it still has the flying carpet feel that you're driving on a cloud, and that it's absolutely silent inside, and there's no distractions from the outside world.
It's a very low automation line, but on the flip side of that, we do have a lot of nuts and bolts and screws that actually really are very critical to the car.
Some of those nuts are used to install the high-tech air suspension system.
There's 2 elements for that. One is the sensing, so something that can understand what the wheels are doing, and then the other part is actually the air suspension units which are in the body.
The air suspension reacts almost instantaneously. It makes adjustments 60 times a second.
So if you were to take yourself from the passenger seat on the left rear side and jump across to the right-hand side, the car's already sorted itself out by the time your backside hits the seat.
While occupants are isolated from the majority of the high-tech systems, there's one star that stands out.
Okay, this is the creation of our Wraith Starlight headliner. So this is one of the a real popular feature for our customers in the car. It gives them that starlight twinkle effect in their roof.
It takes 1,340 fiber optic cables to replicate the night sky, and over 14 hours.
You must be very accurate and patient, because these holes are very, very tiny, and you're using drill bits like it's 0.8 millimeters, so it's very, very special.
They are delicate, very delicate. If you bend them too far, they'll break. You've got to be careful cutting them so that you don't, when you're cutting them, you don't cut the leather. The headliner is the last thing you want to do.
All that twinkle adds up. The Bespoke Starlight option adds over 11,000 euros to the sticker price.
This is one of those things that if anyone else did it, it would be a kitschy gimmick. When Rolls-Royce does it, it's fabulous. It is so cool, especially the fact that you can determine what stars are over your head. Come on, that is the coolest thing in the world.
They swing the seats into place before bolting on the Wraith's rear-hinged coach doors.
A lot of people call them suicide doors, which is not brand appropriate.
The doors are a piece of jewelry, right? It's totally unnecessary. You could have a regular door that opened in a regular way, but you could also have a regular car, right?
Custom Cannondale wood panels feature the largest veneer in the automotive industry.
They're substantial doors. One of the first things people do when they get in the car is reach to close it. You don't have to do that, they're all power closed.
And I love the fact that they have a little button that you can press that swings the door in so you don't have to reach out and grab it, because that would just require too much work than you should possibly ever exert in a Rolls-Royce.
As the interior takes shape, a craftsperson installs the signature steering wheel.
I love Rolls-Royce steering wheels. They're simple and thin-rimmed. There's something super elegant about this thin steering wheel with knobs on the back. The tactile sensations in a Rolls-Royce are fantastic.
In your regular old automotive factory, the idea is to build as many cars that day as possible. Rolls-Royce is the exact opposite approach.
As the machine enters its final phase of construction, in a small room, a craftsman assembles the elaborate customer key box by hand. When the box is finished, it's sent to a very special station on the line, where they install the Spirit of Ecstasy.
So we put the Emily on here, which everyone loves to see, obviously. The Spirit of Ecstasy goes on the front.
You know, it actually looks quite simple, but you have to know a few bits because it's so easy to damage. I said even to my wife, every single Royce, last 5 years, always has my Emily. So that's a very good feeling, I have to say.
Something else that really good happens here is it's the first time the car's ever driven, which is another thing that we love to be part of. First time you hear a roary engine.
After a new Wraith is fired up, it's time to test it out. A process that is 6 times longer than it takes to build the machine.
Take it into wheel alignment, where we just check all the alignment and geometry of the suspension. Next, our vehicles move forward into a driver assistance systems check. After that, we move the vehicle into a pre-rolling road inspection. Then we put our cars into a rolling road, doing a full driver simulation, making sure that the functionality of the car there, ABS braking, kickdown of the gearbox, is as we expect. There is a lot of responsibility there, because if we were to send something on to our customer that didn't meet or exceed their expectations, then you've lost the Rolls-Royce brand. It's all about perfection.
The pursuit of perfection is evident everywhere you look inside the Goodwood complex. But there's one man who has no margin for error. Coachline painter Mark Court.
Coachline means I put a highlight line on most cars, as you can see from the one that's with us now. Is being in a right mindset when you walk in the morning. You've got to be in a certain mindset to do this. You've got to be able to switch off from everything, just go into your own little world and just do this.
It takes Mark 3 hours to apply a custom coachline. It's done entirely by hand and runs the full 6 meters of the machine.
This is not really a thing that a robot can do. If you look closely enough, you will see there's hand done, there's slight inconsistencies that you can look with your fingers rather than your eyes. What you see is what you get. There is no clear coat put over these. This paint is what it is. It actually adheres to the car, and believe me, you cannot get it off after 5 days. They can still wash, wax, polish, and it'll still be there. Each one's different. Each one is done with a little bit of passion. I take pride in every one of these that I do.
You're paying a lot of money for an expert master craftsman to hand paint these stripes on your car. You want to know that they were done by hand. This wasn't a machine that came through and sprayed it quickly. This man spent hours hand painting.
It's taken over 200 craftspeople more than 3 months. But finally, the keys to a brand new Rolls-Royce are ready to be handed over.
When we've completed our process, I wonder where it will go, who's going to be in it, who will see it and go, wow.
From the time that you walk up to it, when you start it up, I mean, for crying out loud, it's got a power available gauge instead of attack. The way the spirit of ecstasy pops out of the dash, every part of the car is about wow.
The wows and wonder are a direct result of the nearly limitless artisanal handcrafting that goes into each machine.
There's like a club of like 2 automakers that do this kind of stuff. You get a level of craftsmanship that's just unparalleled. These are people who are lifers, who have been, grown up in the company from the beginning to just make these materials as beautiful and as nice as possible.
You're proud to be part of that process. If I go to London and I see a car, I say to my partner, I could have been part of that. I could have made some of those seats,
Said I'm very proud to work here. I think it is incredible that we produce vehicles here that go all around the world.
No matter where a Rolls-Royce goes, it usually gets noticed.
My father's an engineer, and my father and my brother are both car guys as well, so if I can bring the latest car home, they want to have a look.
It's one of those cars that you love to share the experience with. People want to know everything about it. They want to know how much it costs, how much power it has, all these things. But really, all they want to do is spend time with it.
It's an experience that's been lovingly imbued using traditional methods rarely seen in modern cars.
A Rolls-Royce is the very natural extension of this British idea of custom tailoring and of old world tradition and of respecting tradition and fine craft.
From its silhouette to its badging, you're looking at something impressive.
To see one and to actually experience one is very rare.
When you roll onto that accelerator, it's like this gentle, quiet wave of torque is just urging you along, but in the softest way possible. And it feels really good.
Seeing one is extremely rare. Owning one is even more exclusive. And for over 110 years, the Flying Lady has stood for the very best.
The Wraith was an admission that, hey, there are people who have the financial means to drive these cars who want to drive them themselves.
What it's done for our brand in real terms is massive. So 5 years ago, our age demographic was 53 years old average. It's now 45.
It's one of the most luxurious automobiles that money can buy. Built from a brand that nearly faded away. And a machine that could only come from the most famous icon in British motoring. The Rolls-Royce Wraith.
Any Rolls-Royce is a precious jewel in the automotive ocean. It is exceptional, it is unique. And if we look through the cars that have been built through history, and more than 3/4 are still here today, exceptional. It is very much about taking those cars forward for future generations.
It's one of the oldest automotive marques in Italy.
Alfa Romeo predates pretty much every other major Italian manufacturer that's around today.
A brand prized by connoisseurs, but all too often forgotten by consumers.
There's an entire generation that has no idea what the hell Alfa Romeo is.
After years of struggle, one of the greatest Italian motoring icons once again tries to find glory.
When we decided to completely restart, the first question was, how?
The answer is a lightweight machine that blurs the line between what a sports car is and what a supercar can be.
We create engine art of the car, and only with the hands.
It's a stunningly beautiful, deeply flawed object of desire that every car guy and girl wants to own.
An object of desire built with a unique recipe that has the weight of an entire company and perhaps country on its shoulders. The Alfa Romeo 4C. Goes 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.1 seconds. Weighs under 1,000 kilograms thanks to a hypercar-style carbon fiber monocoque. And seduces the eye with outrageous Italian flair.
It's an old school kind of car, right? It's small and it's light. It's got all this personality.
The Alfa Romeo 4C. A supercar with a secret.
It's definitely the most affordable supercar. It looks twice as expensive as it is.
Starting at just over 50,000 euros, the 4C is perhaps the most accessible modern-day supercar ever built in Italy.
Hey, I'm just as cool as a Ferrari. I'm just as outrageous, but I'm a third the price.
You can save your money and get a beautiful Italian car made of exotic space-age materials that goes incredibly quickly around a racetrack and turns heads everywhere you go.
Heads spin when a 4C goes by, even in northern Italy, the home of the supercar.
For us, cars are a very special thing. And we have speed in our blood. Speed is our daily bread.
Going fast isn't just a skill, but often a daily activity.
In front of a lights, the lights is red, someone look you, is a race. Because in our blood, there are the race and the Formula One. So anytime you have an old car, a scooter, or a bicycle, you have to race.
The epicenter for this need for speed is a 50-kilometer region surrounding Modena, Italy, otherwise known as La Terra dei Motori, or Motor Valley.
If you think Modena, you think the Motor Valley, the motor, Pavarotti. So your heart open to the car, to the music, and to the food.
Modena is home to Ferrari, Lamborghini, Pagani, Maserati, and now Alfa Romeo. A hand-built, high-performance machine.
It adds value to the car, the fact that it is handmade in an artisanal way.
Craftspeople in this area aren't just workers, but believers too.
Or a guy who, builds Lamborghinis would never build a Ferrari or vice versa. It's like sports teams. You pick one because this is the company you believe in, that speaks to you, and the other ones don't.
I was obsessed from when I was a young boy. Then the ability to come here and choose which company to work for, I chose Alfa Romeo.
every day, the heartfelt passion is put on display inside of Fiat's Modena facility, where they build both the Maserati Quattroporte and the Alfa Romeo 4C.
I was so happy to come work here. Plants like this, which produce dream cars, and particularly Italian dream cars, are few and far between.
Over 200 craftspeople with at least 5 years of experience work inside these walls. Yet they produce just 3,500 Alfas per year.
Alfa's a lot older than people realize. But this is an old brand. It predates Ferrari. It's been around a long time.
The story starts on the 24th of June, 1910, when a group of entrepreneurs buy a defunct Italian car company. They immediately rechristen it the Annomina Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili, or Alfa for short.
It was in this Milan area, which today is most famous potentially for the fashion industry.
2 years later, in 1912, the brand goes racing.
Alfa was a kind of a born winner. And its race cars have been always driven by heroes.
The outbreak of World War I changes everything. Alfa falls under the control of Nicola Romeo. From this point forward, every machine will now be called an Alfa Romeo. Yet when the war ends, it's a 22-year-old racer that pushes the brand forward.
This is where Enzo Ferrari gets his beginning. You know, Enzo Ferrari raced for Alfa.
Enzo Ferrari's racing success leads to more wins with other drivers. And after World War II, the success continues.
Alfa Romeo was the winner of the first and second Formula One championship with Nino Farina and Manuel Fangio.
The victories inspire sports cars for the street.
So in Italy, in the 50s and 60s, Alfa Romeo was the car for the affluent sports enthusiasts.
Yet no matter how sporty Alfa gets, they can't seem to stay in the black where it counts.
The cars, the racing victories, they're really romantic, they're really great stories, but the business side has never worked out well in their favor.
By the early 80s, Alfa Romeo looks destined to fail.
The company was once again bankrupt, unfortunately.
In 1986, the Italian government sells the brand to Fiat for over 5 billion euros. Sadly, success doesn't follow.
And then they were launching beautiful cars, but cars which to a certain extent neglected the DNA of the brand, which were coming from a totally different angle towards cars.
In the late 2000s, the brand is once again fighting the odds to stay alive. Yet amazingly, it continues to engender heartfelt passion in drivers across the globe.
Alfa should have probably been dead 75 times. That's why we root for it.
To get the attention of car fans, and more importantly, customers, the brand needs a new vehicle. Something bold enough to bring back the magic and brave enough to inspire the next generation.
Well, I think that a very strong historical brand like Alfa needs to make statements.
Alfa Romeo needs to make a splash. It needs to catch people's attention. And doing that with a minivan, no. Doing that with a sedan, no. You have to do that with a sports car or supercar.
The result is the 4C, a machine that owes its existence to 2 old friends and a 20-year-old idea. For over 100 years, Alfa Romeo has built beautifully sporty machines and nearly gone out of business doing it.
A lot of automakers have looked in the past to actually buying it because there's a lot of interest in it. It's a brand that's ripe for recreation and a rebirth.
By the late 2000s, the company is once again hanging on for dear life. So the brand taps Harold Vester to lead its latest resurrection.
Harold Vester is the CEO of both Maserati and Alfa Romeo.
I grew up in the western part of Germany, close to Bonn. My father was an architect, and I should have become an architect too, and I tried. But at the end, I decided to go for my passion and dedicate totally to engineering.
Vester's love for engineering eventually lands him the plum position as Director of Development at Ferrari, where he helps create the Enzo. It is perhaps the most notable hypercar of its day.
This is a German, a very rational man who's charged with taking this brand that exists for irrational reasons and putting it back on the map.
It's no small feat to bring one of the oldest Italian marques back. So, Vester turns to longtime collaborator Lorenzo Ramaciotti.
Lorenzo is an old friend. Back in 1998, 1999, he was the chief designer at Pininfarina, a famous design house.
Ramaciotti is one of the most influential automotive designers in the world. His work ushers in the hypercar era. Yet the faster the machines go, the more he longs to create something else.
When you have 1,000 horsepower, how can you handle them? If you're not a professional driver, it's almost impossible.
Ramaciotti's recurring dream is a back-to-basics, lightweight sports car based on supercar tech with a sedan-like €50,000 price tag.
I had the idea of doing a car that was small, light, and very fun to drive.
Our common dream was to create a Ferrari Enzo at an affordable price.
It takes over 20 years before the technology is cost-effective enough to use and an idle Saturday morning conversation to bring it to life.
I think it was back in 2010. We had one of the typical Saturday morning work meetings and discussions.
Well, the 4C was born like a toy project. The idea was to build a car that was still affordable while being very, very extreme.
To realize their affordable fantasy, the pair identify 4 key targets for the new machine: a 40-60 weight distribution, an advanced powertrain, a distinctive Italian design, and perhaps most challenging, a dry weight of less than 900 kilograms.
Usually, projects like this in big companies are born like submarines.
Keeping the bold idea below the radar and out of sight from company accountants falls on the shoulders of lead designer Alessandro Maccalini.
Many times when you make a production car, the box is defined. For the 4C, the briefing was different, very different.
For weeks, the stealthy group labors deep inside of the Fiat Design Center in Turin, Italy.
It's an important place because here the dream can be a real car if we are able to transform a simple dream in something more than that.
The team decides to push the affordable edge of the technological envelope and use a carbon fiber tub for the new machine.
When we start from zero, the paper was white.
We had a style meeting with the CEO, and we showed him these models, and we said, well, let's do a concept car for the Geneva show.
It's a gamble that pays off when they meet with Sergio Marchionne, the big boss of the entire Fiat empire. When the 4C is unveiled at the Geneva Auto Show, it wows both car fans and critics. Some are the very factory workers who will ultimately build the machine. Men and women whose appreciation for high-performance cars helps foster a unique artisanal culture inside the factory.
So when I talk to my friend that says, I'm an artist, it's like a painter, no? You know, this is a part of art.
When you put a Made in Italy stamp on it, there's a pride of craftsmanship that goes back to the Roman times.
The pride in northern Italy transcends the products. What they do in this region speaks to something much greater.
The Alfa 4C say a few things about Italy. We are little, we are smart, we are fast, especially we are beautiful.
It is sort of an ambassador to the world, so it is a bit of national pride, but it's also the brand itself.
It gives me immense satisfaction. I'm proud of the work we do every day, and to be part of a company that is so important to my country.
The massive nationalistic pride and tremendous response to the concept car compels Alfa Romeo to put the 4C into production.
After we showed the car in Geneva, the comments were so positive that we immediately decided to take the car to production.
Just one small problem. Alfa has no idea if they can actually build the car.
When you make a concept, maybe you don't care about something necessary for the production car. It was an incredible challenge for the team because it was not only a problem of design, it was a problem of technology.
Part of the challenge is born from fiscal responsibility. To keep the finished machine affordable, the team needs to stay within their budget.
When you transform a concept car in a production car, you have to mix the different ingredients. You cannot expend a lot for a big power engine. It was an incredible challenge with a carbon fiber chassis inside the car.
Until now, carbon fiber monocoques only existed in ultra-exotic and expensive sports cars. Using one in a machine that's intended to be affordable soaks up most of the budget. But it also shaves weight, and weight is the enemy of high performance.
We are absolutely obsessed about weight reduction. We are constantly on a diet.
To keep the machine svelte, the team forgoes a luxury interior, heavy sound-deadening material, and even a traditional glove box.
So in every part of the car, it was important to reduce, to remove kilogram or gram, to respect this data fixed from the beginning.
When they're finally below the 900 kilogram target, it's time to face the next major challenge: wind.
For me, it's very important is because the wind of tunnel is the moment where you check your work.
To conquer what you can't see, the team takes the prototype to the Fiat Research and Development Center, located in Orbisano, Italy.
We are here in the aerodynamic and acoustic wind tunnel.
Built in 1975, the massive wind tunnel has continually been updated to stay at the forefront of aerodynamics.
Imagine you have a turbine which generates a stream of wind up to speeds of over 250 kilometers per hour.
At top speed, the tunnel uses 2 megawatts of electricity. That's enough energy to power over 1,300 average homes. Amazingly, they need all that power to identify mere millimeters of potential alterations.
We discuss about 3 or 4 millimeters. Sometimes millimeters can change completely the performance in terms of lift and drag.
Drag is the amount of air resistance an object faces while in motion. The lower it gets, the more fuel-efficient a machine becomes, and the faster it can go.
With styling people, typically is a very bloody discussion because they like a lot this kind of body shape, but we don't.
Aerodynamicists try to find an optimal balance between the design department's sexy shape and the engineering team's technical requirements.
So we try a compromise with them, from styling people from one side and from aerodynamic people from the other one, particularly on the rear side. At the beginning, I remember that they would like completely a rounded shape, but it's not aerodynamic. So we managed together with them the correct curve.
The team turns their collective attention to tuning the rear spoiler.
And you can see here one point, very important for the drag and for the lift too, is the tuning of this side of the rear back. If you start to mount wings on your cars, you haven't spent enough hours in the wind tunnel.
Getting the height of the spoiler right is a critical step to ensure that the car stays on the ground at high speed.
We are looking for downforce, which gives you a totally stable driving and handling also at high speeds. It's the magic hand which pushes the car on the road.
Downforce keeps the car on the ground, but it's the multi-generational workforce that helps keep Alfa planted.
Many of the people, they are in the third or the fourth generation working for Alfa Romeo.
Giuseppe is an artist, as one of our most experienced workers. 14 years here in Alfa Romeo, and also he drives old Alfa Romeo. So your son works in Alfa Romeo, right? In Cassino. All the family work in Alfa Romeo.
Lavoro in Alfa Romeo da 38 anni e sono orgoglioso di far parte.
I work at Alfa Romeo for 38 years, and I am proud to be part of this company, Alfa, that is an historic brand for Italy.
People that come here for work, first love the car, second love the mechanics. When they stay home, they work about their car. They have all Alfa Romeo car, especially the old Alfa Romeo, tuning and fixing anytime. They try to tuning the Alfa Romeo at home.
They really do believe in the product and the brand. I don't think they even have to tell them wear the company logo every day. They would do it gladly because they love these companies.
Pride and honor echo the affection for the machine. But building a new supercar is often a risky proposition. The future for both the brand and its workers is on the line.
So when you bring into production a concept car is always a fantastic bet.
If the bet pays off, the passion for Alfa Romeo will reignite. If it fails, one of the most storied car companies will crash and burn for good. And the deciding factor could be as simple as carbon. For over 50 years, Ferrari and Lamborghini have battled for Italian supercar supremacy on the world stage. One is a mecca for Formula One, the other is known for extreme machines. What they both share is a liberal use of carbon fiber.
That is really at the top edge of the technology. It's something you can find in an Indy car or in a Formula One race car.
Now, Alfa Romeo, the third oldest Italian automaker, is hinging its latest renaissance on the very same elemental technology.
It absolutely is an automotive trickle-down. You know, Ferrari has been developing carbon fiber for a long time, but those cars start at $250,000.
Sure, today, carbon fiber is a material that gives you the higher strength related to the weight. It's used in aircraft, it's used in racing car. It's almost indestructible.
Even though the cost of carbon fiber has come down, using it as a structural component in a modern sports car is still a very time-consuming process.
Making a carbon fiber tub is very complicated because it's done by hand.
Carbon fiber could be the material in the future. Right now, this is a very labor-intensive process.
To manufacture the 4C's carbon fiber chassis, Alfa turns to the Adler Group in southern Italy, where the state-of-the-art tub begins as a pile of 40 carbon fiber sheets.
It starts with fabric. You can imagine like braiding, no? Like your grandmother does at home. It's a little bit more high-tech, but at the end of the day, it's like this. And then you cut parts and pieces of it.
Craftspeople trim predefined patterns using an air cutting table. The rough pieces are then hand-glued onto a mold using a resin that's vacuum sealed into place. Next, the entire tub is put into an autoclave, which is essentially a large oven, and baked for over 4 hours to set the glue.
At the end of the day, it's coming out of the oven. It looks like one piece, but it consists of many, many layers of carbon fiber.
The finished tub weighs just 65 kilograms.
Carbon fiber is a really interesting material. The reason why you see it only in really expensive cars is because they spend a lot of time making sure it's as lightweight as it can be, but also as strong as it can be. The fact that you can get it in a car that costs less than 100 grand is nothing short of a miracle.
Workers check the tub for defects before shipping it to Fiat's Modena facility, where they start to assemble the body by hand.
People have sort of an image of what an Italian factory ought to be like, based on maybe old movies or old stereotypes. These days, you can't really turn out a poor quality product anymore. So an Italian factory really isn't that different than any other automotive factory around the world.
So on the line of this car, you will not see robots. It's all handmade. That's also one thing that makes it special.
Freshly made carbon fiber tubs enter the facility at Station 1 on the body in white line. Here, 16 craftspeople will build up the exterior using a mixture of materials.
We assemble carbon fiber, aluminium, and plastic. SMC is a special sort of plastic and composite.
SMC, or sheet molding compound, is a kind of fiberglass that's 20% lighter than aluminium.
They use this material for the NASA, you know, the space shuttle.
They swing the tub onto a reference pallet, which ensures dimensional accuracy throughout the build.
In this area, the front frame with the monocoque and the back frame with the carbon fiber monocoque.
The crash structures are the first of over 136 parts needed to build up the body. Each one is installed by an artisanal craftsperson with years of experience.
I'm almost 60. I did all the manufacturing to produce the vehicle, starting with the welding first, but everything was manual. Now, things are different.
Instead of using traditional welding methods, the assembly team uses an advanced polymeric glue that sets in just 7 minutes. At Station 2, they install the side skirt, roll bar, and bulkhead.
You can see the first process was the rocker, which was glued to. Now people are putting on the doors on the hinges. We fine-tune all the gaps and steps until we have the perfect quality.
Next comes the windscreen frame and roof. Finally, the doors are added. At this stage, most of the large pieces have been set in place. But when you're building a sports car with supercar technology, it's the little details that matter.
It's absolutely a delicate stage because the car have to go out for the painting. So if you make wrong something here, the car arrive with a wrong profile. We control the profile thanks this. So the profile have to respect 0.5 millimeter So our workers is able to control all the profile with this machine. If they control that is 2 millimeter or 1.5 millimeter, they can move, they're able to move and respect the perfect profile.
It's a very manual way of building a body that adds a touch of individuality to each machine.
I remember once I visited a famous shop who produces violins. They look all the same, they seem to be the same wood is used, but each and every is unique, and it's true also for this car.
The amount of handwork required to build the body is extremely time-consuming. Each day, they produce just 18 units.
This is not a process that you can really make industrial in a big way.
It's hand-built, it's hand-done, and that limits the amount of cars that Alfa Romeo can build. They just don't have the capacity to build more.
At Station 9, craftspeople inspect the car by rubbing on an alcohol-based contrast fluid. This helps highlight any defects or blemishes.
This is the final station of the body white of the Alfa 4C. So in this station, we control the profile, we control if all the assembly is okay. We wash with a special additive, and now the car is ready for the painting.
Every day, at a random interval, the team selects one very special body to go through an additional step. Inside of the metrology lab, they digitally scan over 400 verification points to double-check that the panels fit perfectly. After a stamp of approval, sub-assembled bodies are then sent off-site for a splash of color. Once again, the 4C's quest for lightness makes things just a little bit more difficult than the average car.
This is plastic, so it cannot be painted in a traditional painting facility for high-volume cars. This car is painted like a specialty car. They're painted one by one in a specific facility outside the plant.
Great paint starts with great prep. 11 team members spend 3 hours using over 200 meters of tape to mask the bare carbon fiber.
To paint the body for the Alfa Romeo 4C, we need about 8 kilograms of paint for the base coat and about 8 kilograms for the transparent gloss, which means about 16 kilograms of paint for each body painting.
The operators spend 20 minutes applying the first coat. Then it's time for a pair of robots to get in on the action. They take just 11 minutes to paint the remaining 85% of the car. Finally, after more than 40 hours of manual labor spread over 6 full days, a body is ready to return to Modena and enter the final assembly line, where over 200 craftspeople will bring a 4C to life and hopefully help rejuvenate one of the icons of Italian motoring. Alfa Romeo is one of Italy's oldest car companies, and perhaps it's most revered inside of Fiat's Modena factory.
I am Italian. I know that Alfa is part of the history of our nation. I work on a very ambitious project, both for the brand and for the country, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
When I think to Alfa Romeo, I think about the race. I think about fast car. I think about the red that go away on the street.
The brand's latest reboot comes down to the success of their new halo car, the 4C.
It's beautiful, and it's fast, and it's unique. It's a desirable thing. It's a luxury good.
Look at that car, listen to it. It's a feast for your senses.
There's certainly a sort of sexy appeal of having a car that's built in Italy.
This is not an ordinary car factory. This is a high-tech assembly shop. Usually the car stops for 20, 30, 40 minutes, and people are executing very complex tasks.
That sexy appeal is infused at a factory where they've been handcrafting cars for over 3/4 of a century.
Producing vehicles is always something that will make you happy. Producing a car like this one, you can imagine, it is even more satisfying.
The factory's gone through a lot throughout the years, yet they've never lost their love for turning dreams into driveway realities.
Parlo sempre per me, che quando vedo una 4C fuori finita, il percorso là.
Speaking for myself, when I see a 4C outside, completed on the road out there, I say to myself, there is my work.
Io come operaio
As a worker, I am so proud to have a part in completing this vehicle.
ho contribuito a produrre questa nuova vettura.
It's taken over a week for the 4C's bare body to be painted. Yet when it returns to the line, little time is spent admiring the beauty. The first order of business is to remove all the colourful bits.
Nella prima stazione la vettura viene completamente spogliata.
At the first station, the vehicle is completely stripped in order to provide access for the installation of the components, but this also protects the components from damage during assembly.
The vehicle is hoisted onto the line and turned onto its side using a C-hook.
In this special station, we have a big hook that moves the car in this way. So our workers can move inside the car and under the body of the car.
Craftspeople don't have to reach for parts thanks to Alfa's simplified logistics system.
We create a Domino kit that our logistics bring directly to our workers. Our workers not have to work, but only turn, take a screwdriver and the other part of the car and make only this movement.
While a pair of workers install the oil and brake lines, across the aisle, craftspeople prep the 4C's 1.7-litre turbocharged engine on a sub-assembly station.
This is the area where the motors arrive, and they are connected to the other components before being installed in the vehicle.
The brand new engines are mated to the 4C's paddle-driven double-clutch transmission and kitted out.
Yes, actually born in Modena, and I'm extremely proud to make Alfas here in Modena. Most of all, since Modena is the land of motors, it had to produce a supercar like the Alfa 4C.
True moto passion is put on display just a few meters down the line. In Motor Valley, there is perhaps no more important factory location than the engine install.
Allora, qui siamo alla stazione 4C.
Here we are at Station 4, and this is where we connect the motor.
Senza dubbio la stazione più complessa.
Without a doubt, the station that is the most complex of the entire assembly line is the motor station, where you will see the engine being installed inside the body.
In a land full of high-performance passion, this is everyone's favorite spot.
Come tu sai, siamo a Modena, nella terra dei motori.
As you know, we are in Modena, the land of motors. We produce this vehicle here with so much passion, a vehicle that will reach every corner of the world, so we are very proud of this.
When the car moves to the next station, the dashboard arrives from its sub-assembly area.
Here we are at the dashboard preparation station, a fundamental part of the vehicle.
Questo team è composto soprattutto da donne.
This team is primarily female, the dashboard team, because women are more meticulous, precise, since it is a component found in the interior of the car and it makes a first impression on the customer. It needs to be perfect.
Every 25 minutes, the team sends recently completed dashboards to the final line.
Okay, in this station, we prepare the part for insert the dashboard. So we attack the last cable for put the dashboard inside.
The engine makes 237 horsepower, yet it's the car's airbag that might go boom. Keeping everyone alert to the danger comes down to a very simple solution.
Inside, there are things that can explode. So we use the military box. Remember to our workers that can explode.
A cycle later, it's time to install the car's suspension. This includes the front brakes, primarily made from aluminium, which helps save 2 more kilograms of weight.
Right now, I am mounting the front suspension of the 4C.
The team uses high-tech torque wrenches to ensure that the mounting tolerances are exact. The 4C uses glass just 4 millimeters thick. That shaves 15% off the weight of a normal windshield.
Posizionato il parabrezza in modo da centrarlo.
We have positioned the windshield in order to center it, to make sure it is centered on the body.
Con la stop.
Then it's time to reinstall the colorful trim pieces taken off earlier.
Qui assembliamo praticamente la maggior parte della vettura.
Here we assemble most of the vehicle, really. Fenders, bumpers, doors, all the finishing touches.
Parte finale.
They use a special RGV, or robot-guided vehicle, to bring the doors to the line. It's the only automated system in the factory, and the only tool with its own nickname.
We call it our RGV, our robot, Emilio, because it's an automatic robot that bring the doors and other things during the assembly line.
Installing the doors requires absolute precision.
Inserting the connector is the most difficult. Inserting the connector from the door to the body, because sometimes there may be obstacles.
The car is nearly complete. I think we have another 1 or 2 stations, another hour.
When the 4C rolls off the final assembly line, it looks finished. Yet its journey to a dealership has just begun. Each brand new 4C takes a 40-kilometer road test. When a freshly tested machine comes back to the factory, it heads to the finishing area.
When the vehicle comes in here, it has already gone through all of its assembly and also a road test.
The machines are reviewed by independent auditors. Then each car hits a rolling road before taking a quick shower in the water test booth.
We have at least 100 people that touch the product before it leaves our doors. It's a rather complex vehicle. Even though it's small in size, it is very particular in the details. One of the challenges with this vehicle is there are exposed portions that wouldn't normally be aesthetic to other vehicles. So we have to pay close attention to these aspects of the car.
Finally, after weeks of passionate, hand-built craftsmanship, a finished 4C is ready to head to customers around the world.
4C matters because this is the return of Alfa Romeo, this triumphant brand that's been around for all these years that we haven't seen in so long. And here it is. Look at it. That's why it matters. Look at it.
Some of those new machines might even find their way to America, where the brand hasn't sold cars for over 20 years.
It's a big deal to everyone who's grown up hearing about those great Alfa Romeo sports cars of the past.
At its core, the 4C is a throwback to sports cars from a different era.
Classically, a sports car was a toy. It was something you drove just to have fun. It was something that existed just to be exciting.
It's very clear from the second you get in a 4C, this is not a car that's trying to be all things to all people.
Today's sports cars are way more focused on performance, on lap times and quarter-mile speeds and all this stuff. The 4C is more of an old-school approach to the sports car.
This is clearly not a car that you want to drive your kids to school with because they don't fit. And if they did, they'd be miserable.
This is absolutely a less is more car, because the less weight you have to carry around, the faster you can go, the quicker you can corner, the more nimble the car is.
Alfa's fanatical obsession with weight reduction pays off on the track. Fully fueled, the machine's wet weight is just 1,202 kilograms. That's 138 kilos lighter than a Porsche Cayman, and gives the 4C a power-to-weight ratio of 1 horsepower to every 5 kilograms.
If you think about what the definition of a supercar used to be in the 80s, everyone had to have a Testarossa or a Countach. They were loud and uncomfortable, and the interiors weren't great, but they made beautiful noises, and they were really fast, and they looked amazing. And this is the first time you can really reach out and grab it if you have the means.
The 4C charges from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.1 seconds and has a top speed of 258 kilometers per hour.
200 and something horsepower is a lot when the car doesn't weigh a lot, and that's the point of that carbon monocoque. The car's light, doesn't need a big engine, doesn't need to be super horsepower-y to get the speed.
Speed is only one part of the attraction. So is the machine's surprisingly gutsy sound.
Alfa just played the oldest trick in the book. It doesn't have a muffler, like none, zero.
A muffler isn't the only part of the 4C experience that's missing.
Its interior is basically stripped out from everything that it doesn't need.
Stripping out the non-essentials even includes a manual transmission.
Why no manual transmission? Alfa Romeo's official answer is they would like to think of this car as closer to Formula One, which uses paddle-shifted automatic transmissions. Frankly, it's the biggest flaw on this car. This car with a naturally aspirated engine and a manual transmission would be the best supercar in the world.
The lack of creature comforts is the clearest example of Alfa's unyielding desire to shave extra weight and cost from the machine.
Rationally, you can get into a 4C and say, wow, this is like a play school version of my first Ferrari.
The 4C makes the Italian exotic car approachable and attainable for a lot more people.
It's an Italian calling card, best enjoyed in the corners.
Driving this car on a mountain road will make you smile like crazy.
It has fantastic steering. It has great bucket seats that hug you in. And Every time you get in it, you want to go find the twistiest, curviest road you can.
Driving a 4C is easy compared to figuring out how the brand keeps them affordable.
I don't know how Alfa Romeo is building this car and selling it at the price it is without losing huge amounts of money. But look, marketing costs money. You can buy billboards, you can buy TV advertisements, or you can build a car that everyone looks at, everyone wants, and you lose some money on it.
Years of fits and starts and half-baked resurrections have left the marque with minimal market share.
Alfa Romeo doesn't want to be a niche brand. They want to sell sedans here. They want to sell family cars.
The goal of the 4C is to reshape the future of Alfa Romeo.
The 4C is meant to be the halo of the brand. Hey, look, this is what Alfa Romeo is. It's sexy, it's sporty, it sounds exciting.
If you talk to car company executives, they will all say the same thing. We can only survive if we sell 8 billion cars a day. Wrong. Alfa has never sold in volume.
Like an old vine stressed into producing great wine, sometimes it's the struggle that brings out the very best.
What I find most exciting about the 4C is that it exists. I mean, cars aren't made like this anymore. It's something that feels like it was almost snuck past the bean counter.
For over 110 years, Alfa Romeo has fought to stay alive and to stay relevant. Their latest renaissance is the direct result of 2 men and a shared dream.
I don't think there's going to be another generation of the 4C. I think what you see now is probably what you're going to get. Alfa could always surprise us and bring out a new one and improve it, but I think they have some bigger fish to fry.
A €50,000 fantasy whose success or failure is now up to customers around the world.
We tried to do something that was different from what you can find out there, and that was bringing this kind of uniqueness and performance to a much wider audience. The pleasure of driving is not in the 0 from 100 time. It's something more complex. The numbers are there just to be seen on a magazine, but then you have to feel, and that's not easy to express with a figure. There's something that you must feel personally.
Mini? Supercar? No, no.
The Mini is no supercar, but it's a lot of fun to drive. And it's fun that you can afford.
The modern Mini Cooper, a non-traditional sports car offering high-performance, affordable fun.
Mini is such a fantastic British brand. It's got a lot of heritage and a lot of culture. It's got a lot of history to it.
A quarter of a century ago, the marque nearly fades away.
There was the uncertainty. There was some unrest.
Now, this British icon is riding high thanks to a tightly knit team.
There's a lot of camaraderie. We've worked together with a lot of people for a long time, so you build up that team spirit.
A strong sense of family.
I grew up in Oxford. My granddad worked here in the 50s and 60s. Basically, I'm following suit.
And a unique apprentice program.
We're protecting old school engineering skills.
The result is a beacon of industrial hope.
It just goes to show the fact that we are still a force for manufacturing within the UK.
Confidence that's best expressed in the fastest Mini ever made.
The John Cooper Works edition that we make at the plant here is our supercar.
The modern Mini Cooper, the everyman supercar. It's a car born during a global oil crisis. One of the most influential designs of the 20th century. And a quirky machine that's unapologetically British.
The Mini was born in England, and it's great that it's still produced here.
It's ours, it's quirky, it's got a look. There's a lot of cars out there at the moment that you look at, and you have to see the badge before you know what it is. If you see a Mini, you know you're seeing a Mini.
Minis aren't built for statistical bragging rights, but rather smiles per litre.
A fast little turbocharged go-kart, you're pretty high on the thrills per dollar scale.
Few machines offer as much performance in a smaller footprint.
The Mini brand has always been about making a lot of performance from a tiny little package.
Base models start at just €18,000. But if you want a little more bang for your buck, the top-of-the-line John Cooper Works edition clocks in at a very reasonable $32,000.
It's going to surprise people, but the Mini is democratized performance. It's a small, quick, sharp-handling car that's a lot of fun to drive at a reasonable price point.
Ultra-affordable performance paired with a fervently British sensibility.
If you see stereotypical British things, you get the Bulldog, you get the Union flag, and you get a Mini. It's so intrinsically linked, which is nice because every country's got their thing.
Today, the brand sells cars in over 110 countries, and every single one starts the very same way.
It's got a strong brand identity and reaches to every corner of the world. So.
I often look at the destinations of the cars that we build on the line, and it's amazing. One car to America, the next car to China, then a car that goes to France, then Australia, New Zealand.
You look at the build sheets, in Korea, and you think, whoa, and the sales in China, you think, wow, amazing.
The Mini is a worldwide phenomenon that requires 3 distinct factories to get the job done. At the Swindon pressing plant, they manufacture body panels and sub-assemblies. They build 3- and 4-cylinder engines at Hams Hall in North Warwickshire. And every day they produce 1,000 completed machines at the Oxford assembly plant.
Currently, we're building the 3-door hatch, the 5-door hatch, and the brand new Mini Clubman. In the past, we built up to 5 models on the same line.
In a given year, they manufacture more than 200,000 machines.
So the car has come in from the paint shop, comes in a set sequence. We've already started to fit some of the parts to the car.
Every 68 seconds, there's a car leaving the line. We are working more or less 24/5, so 3 shifts, 5 days a week.
The speed necessitates a lengthy 1.7-kilometer assembly line.
There's 224 stations on the main line, so that's from when it first comes in from the paint shop to our final station.
Nearly 5,000 craftspeople bolt and wrench parts inside a facility that is nearly the size of 100 football pitches.
We're now at harness fit, so this is one of the really complicated parts of our process.
We've got a big thing here, is the oven. We've got 18 harnesses in there, 60 degrees all the time. They're all sequenced in there. We get the harness one by one, we take them out, and then we fit them around the car, clip them in, and they're all ready for the people to fix their parts to.
Each harness weighs 20 kilograms and has over 500 clips that have to be snapped into place.
My section is one of the most physically demanding areas because of the harness, because of the bending, and because of the thickness of the harness. It is quite a hard area.
There's little downtime thanks to the high station count and the fast cycle times. To keep the line humming along, workers are backed up by another team of associates.
These guys are the Formula One guys. These are the ones that put the cars together. They're the most important parts of our company. I'm here as a support function, so if they've got an issue, any problems, they let me know and I jump in and let them get on with the next bit.
We do our best. All the blokes, we're all basically on the same page most of the time, and we all strive to build the perfect car. And that's what the Mini is. It's becoming the perfect little car. And it's a good job. It's a proud place to work for, isn't it?
The passion here is palpable and historic.
This facility is the oldest mass manufacturer of automotives.
Built in 1913, the Oxford site has produced over 11.5 million cars, spread over 7 different brands.
No, it's historic, it's iconic. We're very proud to work here and work for the name Mini.
Very proud to know that I've been party to the manufacturing of that product.
To be a part of such an iconic thing as the Mini, I think for me it's a great opportunity.
There's so many companies who change the basic formula. Mini hasn't done that. It's still a fun driving car as it was back in the 50s when it was first launched.
The Mini might be a British icon, but its roots take hold thanks to a French diplomat named Ferdinand de Lesseps. He's inspired while reading a book about Napoleon's early attempt to connect the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. It takes 37 years, but in 1869, his dream becomes reality when the Suez Canal opens. The waterway becomes a hub for international trade, and by the early 50s, 2/3 of Europe's oil supply travels through it. However, in 1956, Egypt nationalizes the canal. The act starts a chain reaction that eventually leads to a worldwide oil crisis.
The Mini story starts with actually a fuel crisis, an oil crisis, and a need for vehicles to be fuel efficient and affordable.
In Britain, the government institutes a fuel rationing program that limits motorists to just 4 gallons of petrol per month. The restrictions inspire the British Motor Company, or BMC, to focus on fuel economy. And they ask car designer Sir Alec Isagonis to create a thrifty machine.
BMC came to him and said we need a car due to the Suez crisis in 1956.
The task has a single mandate: fit 4 people comfortably in a car that can't be longer than 10 feet.
He started in his kitchen, I heard, setting up 4 chairs and invited friends and looked how much space do 4 people need, actually.
Most cars at the time offer rear-wheel drive and use an engine that's longitudinally mounted. Isagonis' inspiration is to spin the engine 90 degrees.
His best move was to turn the engine transverse. That's a principle which is set, I think, for small and compact cars till today. It's kind of a really genius construction principle.
Next, Isagonis decides to make his car front-wheel drive. Finally, he engineers a compact transmission that fits beneath the engine, not behind it. Isagonis' entire drivetrain occupies just 2 feet of the new machine and allows the remaining 80% of the space to be dedicated to passengers.
As it turns out, he also designed a car that was a lot of fun to drive. And people started figuring that out pretty quick. These things handle pretty good. They were a lot of fun.
In 1959, the British Motor Company launches the Mini, a 2-door, 4-cylinder car featuring a monocoque shell. Initially, the machine is offered with a 34-horsepower engine, but gets a whopping 36 miles to the gallon. Heady fuel efficiency numbers even today. Yet it's what happens next that helps coin the term hot hatch. Just 2 years after its introduction, the Mini's unique design characteristics, remarkable handling, and fun-filled driving experience captivate Britain.
Alec Isagonis, he was trying to make a compact and affordable little runaround family car. Needed as much space as possible, but also be compact enough to fit in little tight spaces, park in cities. As it turned out, in the way he designed the car, it actually goes around a corner really well. And people figured this out really quickly.
Among those people is Formula One team owner John Cooper.
John Cooper actually was a constructor who was working for Formula One, and he was a friend of Alex Isagonis. He recognized the potential of the Mini.
In 1961, Cooper bores out the standard car's engine, fits twin carburetors, disc brakes, and a racing-derived close-ratio gearbox. The result is the Mini Cooper, a race car for the everyman.
If you give man something motorized, they will find a way to race it. That's kind of how it works. And that's true for bar stools, and that's true for motorcycles, and it's true for the Mini.
By the late 70s, the brand sells over 4 million machines.
John Cooper was a racing driver who raced Minis and who also hot-rodded them up. The company owes a bit of their popularity to his racing success.
Today, hot-rodded compact 3- and 5-door machines are called hot hatches, a term that John Cooper helped originate, and one benefiting the current top-of-the-line Mini JCW.
JCW stands for John Cooper Works, and that's an homage to John Cooper, who raced the first Minis.
This is a brand that, you know, for its humble origins, for being a cute car, actually has a lot of performance behind it.
Supercar, super performance, but it's affordable to everybody. Leaving the plant, I see so many of these cars where people, you can see a big smile on their face just driving them.
The JCW is fun to whip around a track, but it begins just like every other machine at the Swindon pressing plant.
We're in the blanking area of the press shop at Swindon. This is sort of the initial step of the process. We take coiled steel, which you can see here behind me, and we sort of unwind that into our blanking tools, and we cut from that sheet steel. It is quite big. This coil, for example, is about 20 tons worth. On average, we get delivered about 15 tons in each coil.
The plant starts in 1954 and 5 years later becomes the largest employer in the area.
It's a real growing process, you know. You join here as sort of a young guy, a little bit apprehensive of the world around you. As you can see, it's a big factory. It makes you quite nervous, but you grow into it.
At Swindon, they produce nearly 90% of the Mini's pressings and the majority of the sub-assemblies, such as the doors, bonnets, and tailgates.
We're now at the sort of tail end of the blanking process. What we saw earlier was the coiled steel coming in. It's now been through this blanking line, chopped, if you like, into sheet steel. What you can see here behind you is blanks for the Mini sunroof.
The sunroof blanks are extremely thin. The height of each one is equal to just 7 sheets of paper stacked on top of each other.
So on a press like this, in the first operation, which is the forming press, where all the shaping's done.
Presses vary in age and power. The largest uses 5,000 tons of force. That's half the weight of the Eiffel Tower, and it presses down on a sheet of metal in mere seconds.
This is the final stage in the pressing process. We've cut the sheet steel, we've formed it into a panel, and now we just check the outer surface for cosmetic defects to make sure it's just perfect for the customer.
After a part is pressed, it heads next door to the welding hall.
The parts are brought here, and we assemble them into what we call sub-assemblies.
Over 200 welding robots create body parts a jolt at a time.
The robots offer pinpoint accuracy, repeatability in the process, and speed.
The robots better move fast. The welding shop's cycle time is tied directly to the speed of the Oxford final assembly plant.
Each individual cell is a 60-second, roughly, cycle time is what we aim for. We have to match the cycle time in Oxford in that respect. I think the volume of panels produced here is quite mind-blowing. We produce 11,000, say, assemblies a day, which is pretty staggering.
The majority of the finished parts are sent nearly 35 miles to final assembly.
This is huge for Oxford. The employment that it brings, the kudos that it brings. I mean, we see visitors every day of the week from all over the world that want to come in and see how the car's built, and that's totally understandable. I'd want to see it.
The facility opens in 1913, and just 2 decades later, accounts for nearly 30% of England's total exports. But in the back half of the 20th century, the success fades fast.
The British automotive industry collapses multiple times.
By the 1980s, the plant has already gone through 6 different owners. Years of minimal investment doom it to an uncertain future.
The feeling was one of great trepidation. We didn't know what the future would bring, so we knew that the future was very, very difficult for the plant.
In 1994, BMW buys the Rover Group, which at the time owns Mini, for nearly 1.2 billion euros.
By the time BMW bought Mini, it wasn't really a car company the way we think of most mainstream car companies. They weren't coming out with new products or anything.
6 years later, BMW relaunches the Mini brand. The goal isn't to help a nation, but rather the bottom line.
In the late 90s, BMW had a lot of aspirations to grow, but if they want to expand, they need to have some less expensive cars, some more affordable, everyman kind of cars. They don't want to hurt their name by putting it on something really cheap.
At the time, some critics pan the reborn Mini for being both sacrilegious and a less expensive Beamer.
You could see the Mini Cooper as my first Beamer. The modern Mini bears little resemblance to the original Mini. It's much bigger, it's much heavier. It doesn't drive like the original Minis at all.
Other commentators contend the reborn machine opens up a premium product to a broader market.
You got people saying, well, I can't afford a BMW, but hey, here's this Mini. It's stylish, it's different, it's fun, and it's built by the same guys that built a BMW 3 Series. There's a lot of that BMW value in this car, so you're kind of getting the best of both. You're getting this iconic British style, and you're getting that German cachet that you want.
The success story starts thanks to a very small car, but it actually means quite a bit more.
It's the biggest employer outside of the public sector. You take a walk through Oxford and you'll see features harking back to manufacturing here for the last 100 years. It means an awful lot.
Revitalizing the Oxford plant helps both the local community and members of the Mini family.
It's quite a big family business here. You'll find a lot of generations work here, so it's passed on from generation to generation.
There's a lot of people that have had a lot of history. My father, for example, worked here. My grandfather also worked here. But there's people that go back 3, 4 generations.
I'm the last member of my family to come here. My sister works here, my father's worked here, my grandparents worked here. Back in the very old days, my gran worked here building parts for, I think it was fuel tanks for aeroplanes. My mum worked here in payroll. I'm the last one here.
Having fun starts on the line, but ends up imbued in the car itself.
It's just such a fun little car. The feeling is amazing. It's just great, and they're great to drive as well. I have one.
It's the people that make the plant. You could call it love.
It's just such a well-known and well-liked brand, isn't it? A renewed version in sort of 2000-ish re-sparks that love for everyone, I think, because it's just quirky and it's not like a sort of bog-standard car. It draws the eye, doesn't it?
The catchy and quirky Mini turns heads thanks to one of the most sophisticated body shops in the automotive world, where every day they assemble 1,000 new shells blazingly fast thanks to 1,000 robots, 6,000 welds, and the hard work of the next generation of Mini craftspeople. Every day at the Oxford Final Assembly Plant, brand new Minis roll off the line nearly every minute.
They still build them in England, and they put Union Jacks on the roof and play up the Britishness of them.
The process begins in a highly automated body shop.
We're in body in white. The body is what you see being built over here. It's the bare bones of the car. We fit the closures to it. Trim pieces, the windows, the door cars, etc. all get fitted later on.
BMW spends over £750 million upgrading the site.
The total build-up time is around a day from start of the process to end of the process where the car gets delivered into the paint shop.
650 workers split over 3 shifts oversee all the robots.
It's non-stop. It kicks off at 6 o'clock in the morning. We work round the clock until Friday night. There's constantly something different happening. Always, you know, the robots are moving in the background. You have to keep your wits about you.
Over 435 different steel and synthetic parts are connected, and 90% of the tasks are automated.
The body sides get built up in 3 modular steps, so we go from a framing 1 body, which is, you wouldn't really recognise it as a body shell, framing 2, where a lot more of the structural rigidity comes in. Framing 3 starts to resemble something more of a car, and then the hang-on parts are all fitted, and that's where you'll really recognise it as a body.
On average, a finished body in white weighs nearly 400 kilos. Once the welding robots have their fun, a special perceptron camera double-checks the work. The system is accurate up to 1/10 of a millimeter, which is just about the width of a human hair. When a body is finished, it's time to add a splash of British colour inside the paint shop, where it will take 9.5 more hours to give a new machine its vibrant exterior.
We're at the point now where we've got the cars come over from the body in white.
The first step is to rinse the body shells in a chemical bath.
Our first process is our pre-treatment. It goes through different baths with different chemicals, making sure the car is perfectly clean and ready to take the paint.
After taking a quick dip, the body is baked at 180 degrees Celsius, which gives the shell a greenish primer tint.
It goes into a complete dip tank. We get the first layer of paint in it, which we call E-coat, just paint being applied through electrostatic.
A collection of robots applies over 77 meters of seam sealer to each machine.
The car will then go through a small area of preparation prior to going into the colour booths, where all the robots will spray firstly inside the car, then outside the car.
The colour booth features 2 different sets of robots. The first are electrostatic machines that apply the base coat and flat colours. However, if you order a metallic finish, then pneumatic robots join the action. In total, it takes roughly 4 litres of paint to cover a Mini.
The huge amount of customization you can do to a Mini. These cars have character. You can get interesting decals, get interesting stripe packages, interesting logos, and it's all there to make the car feel a little bit more unique than your typical $20,000 to $40,000 economy vehicle.
The fully automated facility is entirely modern, but it wasn't always this way.
I've been here a long time now. I'm in my 38th year of working here. I'm on my 3rd paint shop. When I first started, we sprayed all them by hand. And in those days, all the paint had lead in them. And we didn't have air-fed masks. We had just a little paper mask. And that would be our day's work, and it'd be hard.
Tom Bennett runs the Mini paint shop, and his history with the marque goes back a long way.
The success story isn't just with me. My father worked in the press shops here for 40 years, and I currently got both my sons worked here, one for 10 years and one for 15 years. When it comes time to me to retire, I've still got my family, and the Mini is a big part of my family, and always has been for many generations.
Family connections mean a great deal at the Oxford plant.
My brother actually worked here before me, so it was through a referral. A lot of my friends were moving and working here, so I thought, why not take the opportunity?
Knowing someone on the inside helps get your foot in the door, but it's hard work that moves you up.
But I've been within assembly since 2003. I've slowly worked my way up. I actually started off on the shop floor as an associate, doing the process the same as these guys, became a team leader, and now a process leader.
The healthy amount of upward mobility creates frequent job openings, some of which are filled by former apprentices taught at the Oxford plant. 2012, the brand creates the Minicademy.
Particularly in the UK, you're in a situation whereby vocational skills, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, those sort of people went into decline. And unfortunately, now we're paying a price for that.
Each year, 32 lucky youngsters are given the chance to learn the ins and outs of auto production.
It's about growing that person from scratch. We want to influence behaviors. We want to teach life skills. We want these people to be people that at the end of their apprenticeship want to have a 40-year career with our business.
Jason Gaskell is the head of the apprentice training program. He runs a highly intensive 3 or 4 year course that offers future employees old world skills while also protecting the brand's future.
What we don't want is a situation whereby we get to a stage where nobody has that old ability or that old hands-on ability to be able to put their hand to something, to fix it, to keep things going.
While the goal is to cultivate artisanal skills, the approach is utterly modern.
Apprenticeships historically were viewed as being for people who couldn't necessarily hack it in an academic forum. That is not the case today. The people that you see around you today in this workshop are highly academic.
New apprentices don't start with tools, but rather mice. The academic program begins in a high-tech classroom.
Currently, at the moment, we're standing in what we call the IT suite. As part of their apprenticeship, they need to learn how to design and draw things on CAD.
CAD, or computer-aided design, lets the apprentices learn their trade in the virtual world. After the digital tech, it's time for old-school tools.
And we're now in what we call our technical training facility, or if I go back to old school, in our workshop.
I think it's kind of a good mix of sort of hands-on learning and theory learning as well, and you get to work around with the cool cars, so that's nice.
Even though the factory is extremely automated, the new apprentices start with basic handwork.
You can see the people working on the benches are really doing some basic down-to-earth skills. Filing, drilling, cutting. Things that you would expect any base foundation person wanting to get into engineering to be able to do.
Once the students master hand tools, it's time to move up to the motorized lathes and mills.
Now, in your modern engineering terms, you'd feed that into a computer program and the machine would do the turning and cutting for you. We're still old school here. We want them to physically be able to put a piece of metal into a machine and make something with it.
After all the tools, it's time for something a bit more shocking.
What you see in front of you now is our electrical training area. So they do a little bit on what we would term domestic electrical. So how do I wire a plug? How do I wire a light? Because there may be that situation that they need to do that.
Doing, the machining and with the hand fittings and everything like that, the electrical side of it. It's something that I've never known before, and I've learned all these different skills that I didn't even think I could do, and it's possible.
More importantly, they then go on to PLCs and programming, so the equipment that controls our factories, they get to do that.
Learning how to program the equipment inside the plant is critically important.
Although technology is taking massive leaps forward, there is still big bits of equipment that sit out in our factories that need to be fixed. Nothing runs forever. Our utopian world would love us to have a situation like that, but it doesn't exist. So what these young people are learning is, should something go wrong at 2 o'clock in the morning, they have the ability to get that fixed quickly.
Rapid solutions and intelligent problem solving are critical skills inside the Oxford plant, where brand new Minis roll off the line every 67 seconds. And each shift, 700 workers put their hearts and souls into every machine.
It's getting your hands dirty. It's finding out how things work. If you like that sort of thing, you like working here.
We are proud of the product, so we want to make sure it's good for the customers and everybody enjoys it.
2,300 people work on 8 distinct lines under this roof.
1,000 cars a day. So that's something we're very proud of, is 1,000 cars every single day.
On the track, modern Minis move forward at a nice clip. But if you look down at the dashboard, it's a throwback to another time.
They keep it small. There's no deviation from their philosophy. I think the thing that I like the most about Mini is that it's unrepentantly Mini. They do it their own way, and that's it.
Installing the iconic dashboard takes place at Station 20.
We're now installing the cockpit into the vehicle. So it's very, very precise. It only just fits into the aperture of the door. It's then fitted onto its locating points on the dashboard, and then it's secured to the vehicle.
Simple bolts secure the dashboard. But back in the Mini Academy, the goal is to secure the future of the brand.
It takes us 4 years to qualify an apprentice. We can prototype, launch, and build a car in 2.5. So that gives you a kind of a timescale idea of what apprenticeships are all about. They're a massive, massive investment for the long-term strategy of a business.
The long-term plan starts in a very internet-savvy way.
I applied through going online on the Facebook page.
Some apprentices arrive online, others show up in need of change.
I did do a degree in politics, actually, and then I sort of realised I didn't want to do that, so had a bit of a career change, and here I am. When you say it to someone, you know, it always sparks a conversation. So yeah, it's not some unknown company. They're like, what do they do? It's quite easy to kind of talk about the cars and where things are going. So that's always interesting.
It's easy to see where the Oxford Mini plant is headed. Today, the facility is responsible for more than 10% of all the automotive production in the UK, including the hottest Mini of them all, the JCW. The John Cooper Works Edition is the fastest machine that Mini has ever made. Its 228 horsepower, 2-litre twin-turbo motor is built inside the Hams Hall facility, where over 7,000 3- and 4-cylinder motors come to life every single day.
We're in Plant Hams Hall. This is an engine plant where we machine and assemble engines. Behind us is the start of the cylinder block line. So this is where we machine the cylinder blocks that go into Mini. So these are raw parts. They come to us, they're cast externally, and they come here for us to machine them.
The stations move in under 30 seconds, and it takes about 8 hours from start to finish to build a new motor.
This is the start of the process where we launch the cylinder head onto the assembly line, and it then takes a number of stations. It gets assembled. We have machined heads that are machined next doors in our machining hall. They come in a pallet, get delivered, and then they get loaded onto the assembly line via the robot.
The machined cylinder heads are assembled and tested.
What Raji's doing is he's visually inspecting the part just to make sure that there's no defects in the components. The problem with machining is machining will uncover defects in the casting.
In another part of the factory, they work on the crankshafts.
We're on the crankshaft machining line, and we're very close towards the end of the process. And this is a super finishing process. There's 3 steps through this finishing process. So there's a rough type, the finishing type process, and then there's another type that picks up the parts of the crankshaft that don't get picked up on this particular one here. So 3 steps. It's a very fine paper, yeah. As you can see, 1500 grit, it's very, very fine. It's developed on a continuous roll, so it continuously rolls around, so you've always got fresh type.
On another line, pistons are built up.
This is a sub-assembled piston and conrod. So they're basically travelling now on their journey to the piston fit station, where they'll marry up with a block.
It's time to build a new motor. The crankshaft is installed. New engines then receive their unique identification number. Pistons are connected.
Some of the parts are very intricate, and so it can be very demanding for automation to do that sort of work.
They fit the turbochargers, the inlet manifold, and engine harness.
So at this point, it becomes a unique engine going into a unique minute.
The motor is now ready to be sent down the road to the Oxford Final Assembly Plant, where it will be delivered directly to the powertrain sub-assembly line.
So our engines come from Hams Hall as a completely built-up engine, but what we now do is build them into the front suspension unit. So we marry now the engine to the subframe and the front suspension, and this is what you see behind us.
55 craftspeople work across 25 engine sub-assembly stations.
Every single process is exactly timed against the 64 seconds. So meticulous planning of every single element of every single process is planned down to the last second.
Once they finish sub-assembling the motor, it's transferred across the aisle, where a new Mini eagerly awaits its power plant.
Where we're standing now is what we call marriage. That is a place where the engine is married with the car, and we've got a split marriage, front axle and engine and gearbox.
So it's a very precise element of the production. With the engine, it's very, very tight to go into the cars. We're talking millimetre gaps between the engine and the body.
To achieve the required precision, the team relies on a special automated system which raises the power plant 15 centimetres beneath the car. Then, 4 robots bolt the drivetrain, subframe and suspension to the car.
8 bolts that hold the engine into the car from underneath, and then there's further ones that are from the engine bay downwards.
The car becomes a real car. Now it's married, now it's proud to call itself a car.
Workers bolt the exhaust onto the new engine.
The big pieces that we're installing here is the rear exhaust, the heat shield, further down the line, the modular front end, and also seats. They are fitting the exhaust, so this is onto the hanger bracket. This guy is secure in the front, and this guy's putting on the nice chrome finish so it looks quite pretty at the end. We're going to put nice, shiny, pretty things on the cars.
The battery is connected.
This is at the part where we fit the front end of the vehicle, the front bumper, the front radiator, basically the front frame of the vehicle. Behind me, the parts come in sequence. They're brought in exactly the build sequence that we have going through our production line. So they take them off the rack that they come in on an assister, and then they mate it up to the front of the vehicle. So it's the front end marriage.
Further down the line, workers fit the sport-orientated wheels.
We fit the wheels and secure them. Then further up, we have underbody, which is mainly underpanelling.
Wheels which help give the Mini its responsive steering.
People love them for racetracks and back roads. It's fun, super responsive little car that you can just whip it around anything.
I've been here 14 years now. It's great. It's a good company, good to work for, good environment, lot of good guys here, so it's a really good company.
The wheel fit station is fast and efficient, yet it hides a tremendous amount of complexity. There are over 42 different wheel and tyre combinations available. Once the safety systems check out, it's time to program the Mini's key.
I love what I'm doing, the key programming. I really enjoy the job. I have to be very careful watching what I'm doing, checking the numbers for the right car.
Finally, after 1.7 kilometers of assembly, a new Mini is ready for the real world.
So we're on the finishing line, so this is basically the end of where everything's finished. This will then drive off around next door into validation, ready to go to the customer.
It's taken 5.5 hours to build a new Mini. The quality control process is extremely thorough, but for some machines, it's even more intense. Once a day, they pull a selected machine off the line for extended testing.
Not all of our customers live in the ideal climate. We have variations between whether or not you're looking in Pacific areas or Asia areas where you're talking about quite high humidity, in certain areas which is high sunshine. So this is our climate chamber. You can go down to minus 30 degrees Celsius and up to plus 60. And we can do 98% humidity, so we can really make it a very warm and humid atmosphere. It's very, very unpleasant.
After a machine heats up and thaws out, it takes an extended bath in a water test booth.
This is the water test rig, another area where we torture our cars and really make sure that they are tested to the absolute limits.
They run the water test for a day and a half and have the ability to turn the machine side to side and on an angle.
Some people may have, on their homes, they may have to park like that, basically for the whole lifetime of the vehicle.
After washing off, each machine hits a few bumps.
We're in the shaker rig area. This is the 4-post shaker rig. We're just putting it through its paces to understand if there's any squeaks and rattles on the car. I think the challenging part is actually about trying to understand what the root cause of something is. You can always hear a noise. Any customer hears a noise in a car, but trying to find out exactly what's causing it is the main issue. It's always the most difficult thing to do.
Diagnosing unwanted sounds is difficult, but in Oxford, the really hard times passed long ago.
I've been at Mini Plant Oxford now for 15 years. When I first started, probably about 50 or 40 cars a day. Now we're making a lot more cars.
The Oxford plant builds nearly 200,000 machines a year. It's a remarkable turnaround for a brand that was once on the ropes.
What Minis do is they focus on sort of the lighter side of driving. The more fun stuff, the more not so serious stuff. Their designs aren't cute, they're playful, and that's the way these cars drive.
The current top-of-the-line machine is the JCW edition. The fastest, coolest, and costliest hot hatch the brand has ever built.
The John Cooper Works edition that we make at the plant here is our supercar. It doesn't come with a massive price tag with it, but it's a really exciting, sporty car.
When you see the JCW badge on the back of a Mini, you know, hey, this is the one that's sporty. This is the one that's fun to drive. This is the one that harkens back to those old cars. JCWs are fun to drive. You get more power, you get more tire, you get suspension that's tuned to be more aggressive. You get a little bit more excitement out of the stuff that I'm interested in, the passion of driving.
The JCW's 228 horsepower engine thrusts the machine 0 to 100 kph in 6 seconds flat and offers a top speed of 246 kilometers per hour. All for about 32,000 euros.
If you think about the British car industry, everything that's left is kind of luxury cars and sports cars, expensive stuff, but the Mini endured. It was the odd one out, right? It was the different one. Kind of retained this pop culture status. The great thing about Mini, all the Minis, before you even get to the JCW package, is they're all like little go-karts. They've got that really small, glued to the ground, super quick response. It just super zippy. It just goes right wherever you point it. The Mini Cooper is democratized performance. There's no corner too tight for it. And then you take a car that's that good to begin with, and then you add all the JCW goodies. Power, bigger brakes, better tires, and different suspension, all these things, and you can really carve a corner with those things.
The Mini starts thanks to a fuel shortage, but quickly becomes an inexpensive form of sport where smiles per corner matter the most.
When the new Mini Cooper was reborn the last decade, it really did sneak up on a lot of people. You said, here's this thing, oh, it's cute, but a Cooper S drove like a little go-kart. I mean, you got the wheels pushed all the way out to the corners. They've got a great stance to them, low center of gravity. They're really nimble, really excellent little performance machines.
Minis surprise people thanks to their affordable performance, but they wow them due to their British sensibility.
As much as Mini is a sporty little car, it trades a lot on its uniqueness. Unique looks and its unique interior layout, and the fact that it's not like anything else you buy in that sort of price class. It's not another 3-box, 4-door sedan that everyone else has.
There's two ways you could look at this car. You could look at it as an inexpensive way to get in a BMW, because there's a lot of BMW attributes to this vehicle, even though they're kind of cleverly hidden. You could also look at it as a lifestyle choice, as a lifestyle vehicle, something that's exciting and interesting to drive, something that's different than another vehicle that you might buy for $30,000.
The great thing about Mini is that they kept the formula. The cars have gotten a lot bigger. They look a bit different. They've got a lot more features and technologies and things these days, but they've always made them fun little go-kart to drive. And the JCWs are the best ones of those.
The modern Mini, a machine that only exists due to an oil crisis, comes of age thanks to a Formula One racer, and today offers a uniquely affordable blend of British fun and high-tech performance.